नहमदुहु व नुसल्ली अला रसूलिल करीम अम्मा बाद रब्बि इश्रह ली सदरी व यस्सिर ली अमरी वहलुल उक़दतम मिन लिसानी यफ़क़हू क़ौली रब्बना ज़िदना इल्मा अल्लाहुम्मा फ़क़िहना फ़िद्दीन अस्सलामु अलैकुम व रहमतुल्लाहि व बरकातुहू. Okay, so inshallah we will continue with Surah Lahab or Surah Al-Masad. So initially we talked about who Abu Lahab was and we did the first two ayahs. So if anyone remembers the meanings, if I can ask, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, anybody remember the meaning of tabbat?
Perish.
Perish, good job. Yada?
Hands.
Two hands, good job. Abi Lahab?
Abu Lahab.
Abu Lahab.
Watab?
And perish himself.
Himself, good. Ma aghna?
Not avail.
Not avail or did not help, good. Anhu?
Him.
Maluhu?
His wealth.
Wama?
And what?
Kasab?
He earned.
He earned, good job, awesome. So the first two ayahs that we did was about, it starts with a curse on Abu Lahab, on his hands and he himself, that his two hands will perish and he himself is going to perish. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that his wealth is not going to help him. So the question that we ended the last week was, so Allah says his wealth is not going to help him. What about us? Our wealth is going to help us? Did we get the answer to that question? Yes, Riz?
I had an answer to that question.
Yes, go ahead.
Last time. So I was going to say that it depends on how you use your money.
Yes.
So like, let's say if it was Abu Lahab, he was a disbeliever, so he wouldn't like use it on helping other people. He would just care about himself and his wife, Arwa.
That's right.
It wouldn't help him, but it might help us if we use it for to help others.
Yes, not only just help others, it all depends on one's intention. And I'm going to go back to probably the first lecture that we had when we talked about that when we are about to start our journey in learning the Quran, we need to see what is our intention. What do we want to do this for? Why are we actually doing this? Why are we spending 30 minutes every single day? And this needs to be reminded every single time we are here. So similarly, it's not about, exactly you do it for like a very awesome cause that you're spending your money on. It depends on your intention. Even if you're spending your money or your wealth or anything on your family or even on your own self, but your intention is to please Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, it is going to help you on the day of judgment and it is going to add to your good deeds. So it all depends on our intentions. We can always mold our intentions to make it in order to please Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I mean, an example of just eating, you eat like, how many times a day? Minimum probably 3 times a day we eat food. We may have no intention when we are eating food. We just go ahead, we start and we eat. But if we have an intention that we are using what Allah gave us and we are thanking Allah for that, that simple act of eating becomes a good deed because Allah is pleased while we are consuming what Allah gave us. So that's also a similar thing that his wealth is not going to help him because number one, he never spent it on any good cause. And number two, he never had an intention to please Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So that's why it is not going to help him. And there is third thing, which we can talk about after we do the translation of this ayah. So let's go to our translation mode. Okay. Mm. Sayasla naran zata lahab. Okay, let's start doing translation of this. Sayasla. These are two words, sa and yasla. Sa means soon, very soon. So the translation will be soon he will burn. Who will burn?
Abu Lahab.
Abu Lahab. So the word sa is usually sa comes when we're talking about future. So sa is first, that's why we do the translation soon. Soon he will burn. Naran. What's the word naran mean? Anybody knows? Nar means fire. Zata, off. Lahab. Okay, now this is not Abu Lahab's name. This is actually the word that he used to be. Remember we talked about that he was called Abu Lahab. Why? Because of his reddish skin. That's why people would call him Abu Lahab, because his skin was so different than everybody else in the community.
So Lahab means red?
Yes, so Lahab is red, and it's kind of the red of the flames. Just like the red of the fire. So that kind of skin he had, just like we say, that person, that cheeks are like apple, that kind of analogy, that sometimes we compare somebody's skin with apple. It means like, it's reddish, but not exactly reddish, but in a beautiful sense, reddish. So his skin was nice. He was good looking. So that's why people would call him Abu Lahab. But here we are using the word Lahab in the actual sense of blazing fire. Blazing flames, sorry. Okay. Soon he will burn in a fire of blazing flames. So as I said, we will talk about one more thing, that his wealth will not help him, is that, when you are rich, you can avoid punishment a lot of times. You can, bribe. You're rich, you can get away with law, do other things, use your money to do things. But his money is not going to help him, is not going to save him from the hellfire. Nothing is going to be accepted. Allah is not going to accept anything as a ransom or anything. Some people even sometimes there's a crime somebody commits and you're just fined for it. Okay, that's a fine. You broke a traffic rule or something. So you pay the fine and it's done. But here, his the wrongdoings were so bad, and even if they were not, on the day of judgment, nobody will be able to pay ransom or pay fine and get away with it. That's not how things are going to work on the day of judgment. So that's why it is that soon he will burn in fire. So whatever he was, whatever success he had, whatever wealth he had, it's not going to help him on the day of judgment. Okay, sorry, I actually somehow made a mistake copy pasting. Let me copy the next ayah. There you go. Okay, next ayah. Wamra'atuhu. Wamra'atuhu means, imra'a means wife. Wamra'atuhu and
His wife.
his wife. Good job. Okay. Wa is this, and who is for his. Hammalatal. Hammala means carrier.
Are those two words or is that one?
Which one?
For hamma, is that like hamma and latal, or is that one word?
It's one word.
Oh, okay.
Hatab. Hatab means firewood.
So the wouldn't it be the firewood because it's
Yes. But here the thing is, when you put off here, we can say the, but it's just like it is, you know, it's gonna go too deep into the grammar thing. It's called, yeah, I'm forgetting the name as well, but it's just that when we have a off here, so we don't put the usually. That's just understand it that way. So hamalat al-hatab, this kasra here, that denotes something which is related to the other thing by off. You know, we call it, you know, the relation is off. Like for example, when we say Abdullahi, slave of Allah. So you will always see a kasra in the end of Allah, which means that denotes the off in English. So yeah, you can just take it like this for now. Maybe inshallah, some other time we're going to do more detailed lesson on Arabic, you know, grammar. Okay. Okay. So the complete translation is, and his wife
will be maybe?
Will be or is actually the carrier of firewood. Got it? Okay. So there are two meanings to this. In some places, you will find that this woman whose name was Arwa, I think we listened somewhere, they would also call her Umm Jamil. And these both husband and wife were dead against Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. She would actually get those, you know, firewood, the sticks. She would collect those and deliberately put them in front of Prophet Muhammad's house just to make him uncomfortable. So when he passes by, he has, you know, he has no way to get out because they were not like two wide streets at that time. They would be like narrow passages. So she would deliberately do this. That's one meaning. The other meaning is that she's actually the carrier of firewood on the day of judgment. So that's her punishment, that she's going to be carrying these, and then eventually she's going to be burning in this. Now, okay. Why would she do this? I mean, this could be, we find this in different books, and it may or may not be right, but she has done a lot of things just to annoy Prophet Muhammad Sallam and just to make him uncomfortable, things just to tease him. Just like we say, bullying somebody, just because you don't like somebody, you want to just feel happy when you heard that. That kind of a person she was. She would feel happiness to hurt Prophet Muhammad Sallam or, make him uncomfortable. That's what she would do. Next ayah. Okay. Fi means in. Or around. Jidiha, her neck. Jid is neck, ha is for her. I'm just going to highlight so you can remember. So here it was who, which for his. Ha is for her. Hablun, a rope. Min. Actually, min means off, but here it is more appropriate to say made of. Masad, palm fiber, which is kind of a very, very strong material that's used to, make ropes. So it is said that this woman had a necklace that she really used to like. And she was very fond of. And those times, like now, we have a lot of stuff. We really don't care. We have multiple things. Women have, lot of jewelry. They don't really care. But at that time, they would have sometimes one particular thing that they would be really fond of, and they would be really taking care of that, just one piece of jewelry and just one necklace. So she had just one precious necklace that she was really fond of, but she would say that I'm going to use this in order to harm Prophet Muhammad Sallam. I'm going to sell this so I can do things, so I can damage his cause, his reputation. So taking the same analogy that she used to really feel proud wearing that necklace, which was very precious, on the day of judgment, there will be no necklace for her. There will be what? This rope around her neck. So let me just, around her neck will be a rope of Okay, so that's what it is. We're done with the surah. We know what it means. We talked about Abu Lahab and his wife and how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala cursed them, and what's their punishment is going to be on the day of judgment. Now, that's one thing that we know, that they were really bad people and they will be punished on the day of judgment. And of course, everyone is going to be given their either reward or punishment on the day of judgment. Whatever we did in this world, we will get. That's what our faith is. That's what our iman is. But the point to find out here is, the important thing to find out here is that Abu Lahab and his wife are the only two people. In fact, Abu Lahab is the only person who's mentioned by name in the Quran, and he has been cursed. There were other enemies as well. Prophet ﷺ had a lot of enemies. Some people died as Prophet ﷺ's enemies. Abu Jahl, for example. There were other people as well who died, who were killed in battles. But they were not named in the Quran. Yes, they might be mentioned, but they were not named, not by name. What's so bad? Because we need to know this, that what's difference between other enemies of Islam and in particular Abu Lahab, that he was actually mentioned by name. Okay, Riz, go ahead.
Probably he was mentioned by name because it was like so bad, and especially how he was his uncle as well, so he should be supportive of him. But he and his wife tried to hurt him so that he couldn't, be the prophet, and he would have to he couldn't do anything about it.
Yes, so very good point that you mentioned, Riz, was him being
like
his
the
uncle.
Closest person to him.
Yes.
So
let me take a little more on this, like a little deep dive. So what he was, if he was the uncle, so why would somebody, he was the uncle, okay, fine. So why would he expected? Why would we say that, okay, he should have supported? Anybody would think of? Think of your family members, you have families. What happens when other people say something about you? And when somebody who's so close to you, who saw you growing up, that person says something, what's the difference? Okay, anyone?
Because they're the ones that are closest to.
Yes.
That's what I added in the end.
Right. Anything else, Mahnur?
I don't know.
Yeah, come on, think about it. Like somebody who's like very, very close to you, right? And I'll come to you, Shiz. Somebody who's just a nobody, and that person just listens from somewhere and says something about you. Okay, that's fine. But somebody who lives right next door, and that person is your uncle, what's going to hurt more when somebody who's so close to you is going to badmouth you? Is that going to hurt more, or you read something, in the newspaper about you? You're a celebrity, right? So think about a celebrity. Those days, there were no newspapers. But imagine nowadays, somebody who became famous, that person is a celebrity. And some XYZ person says something about you. Okay, that's fine. That person said something about you. It's okay. You can say, no, that's wrong. That's not true. Right? What if your own uncle comes up and says, no, that person is a liar. I know that. How impactful will that be? Yes, Mahnur.
It's gonna make you sad.
Yes, that's gonna make you more sad, right? Because that person saw you growing up. In the heart, he knows you're not what he's talking about. He knows it too. It's not just you know it. You know that he knows it. He saw you growing up. Come on. He knows that you're not a liar. He knows how good person you are, how perfect your akhlaq, your manners are. He saw you. You grew in his lap. So imagine that person or somebody who's not even related to you. That's the difference. You getting that, right? So that's why that person is so bad. That's one reason. Okay. Yes, Shees, you wanted to add something to it?
Yeah, I was gonna say the person who's the most closest to you will obviously have a bigger impact since they know you more and you know them more as well, like know them the most, rather than the person you don't know as much. Like if you think about it, if someone just says random stuff about you in the internet that you don't know of, you obviously, some people will ignore it, some people won't. And if someone like your cousin says it to you, you won't ignore it because you're really close to them and they're not supporting what you're trying to say. So what your cousin will say will obviously will make you feel negatively more.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's a very good point. Number one, it's going to hurt you more. So it was really, really hurtful for Prophet Muhammad SAW because he was his own uncle. But number two is that it hurt his cause more as well. Because, if somebody from outside the city comes over and asks about Prophet ﷺ, and that person gets up and says, I'm his uncle, and I can tell you he's a liar, that's going to damage his cause as well. And he knew that he was not right. He was wrong. That is one thing. Very good. Awesome. Good job, guys. There's one more. What else? Actually, there could be many things, but one more thing about Abu Lahab was that, we have disagreements, right? Everyone, do you have disagreements with people? You
Yes.
do, right? Right. We do have disagreements. How do we disagree? What is the manner of disagreeing? Somebody who you really don't like to disagree. Yes, she's. How do you disagree?
We do it in a respectful manner. You won't try to hurt them as much, but you're trying to prove that they're wrong in like a respectful way.
Yes. Yeah, there's a respectable way of disagreeing, right? Okay, sometimes you get overboard as well. Yes, Riz?
I was gonna say, like kind of what she said. I'm gonna add to that. Like, in your manner, you have to like make sure to still, like you guys are against each other on something. So you want to make sure, like, not to just like lash out at them, saying they're wrong, blah blah blah, and be mean to them. You gotta like say it respectfully in a way so that they don't have to do it either.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. So you stay within those limits, right? If I disagree with somebody on one thing, I'm only going to disagree on that thing and we will agree, okay, I'm not going to talk to you on this topic because we disagree. We disagree on so many things. We disagree on religion. We disagree on politics. We disagree on so many things. And some people have very, very strong opinions on things. And if we disagree with those people, we just avoid talking to that stuff, right? But is that fair that you start teasing that person? You start putting, things or garbage on their doorstep? What kind of animosity is that? What does exactly this shows about a person who does that? That's not just disagreeing. That's bullying. In simple terms, right? You feel happy when somebody's disturbed, when somebody's uncomfortable. You feel that inner happiness by seeing that person sad. That's a different level of going deep down into really garbage. So that's how bad that person was. And that's what we need to remember, that why he was so bad. Those were the reasons why he was so bad, that he would just not disagree. There were other people who were disagreeing with Prophet ﷺ. There were other people who were not ready to become Muslim. But he took his animosity to a very, very different level, in a way that even when Prophet ﷺ's son died, he was happy about it. Prophet ﷺ's son was actually, if you see closely, would be probably his grandson, right? In a way, he was Prophet ﷺ's uncle. So in a way, Prophet ﷺ's son was his grandson. A little child, innocent child died. And he was happy about it because he saw Prophet ﷺ sad. So that's how bad he was. So that was the reason why, a few reasons why he was. But again, in order to understand these surahs better, we need to actually learn the life of Prophet ﷺ, how these things happened, how these things unfolded, what exactly he did, what exactly other people did. how they harmed Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu. So that's when we know we are able to understand these words better. Okay, inshallah, I'm gonna end right here. We will start our new surah inshallah tomorrow. Jazakallah khairan for joining. Subhanakallahumma wa bihamdika nashhadu an la ilaha illa anta subhanaka. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.